Kaya late kulit. Hoy. Hello? Hello. Mic test. Mic test. Mic test. Mic test. Mic test. Bye. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. Evening all stations. Evening all stations. Evening all stations. Oh boy, oh no. Like this. Since na sa kung lugar kay na ako'y giayo. Magsugod na ka sa atong reviewer karong gabi una sa ano sa nisa sa class D element 2. Dili na ako magtawag og mga station sa kay medyo piki na kay nalitik ko kuan kay apog gitiwas. O giayo ang team. So gana ta kay mga station ka nag kuan karon na monitor karon pwede pakitingog call control. Kung mga station ka nag-monitor call control on QI. Like test now. May nalay akong kwan Facebook. Wala na live. Good evening all stations na nag-monitor. Hinawat ka na inyong monitor karong video na. Di na ta mag-kuhan kay ato na ning paspason. Diretso na ta. We'll have a review for this coming for NTC license examination for amateur license. Here one. What law did Philippine legislative enact of November 11, 1931, which is known as Radio Control Law of the Philippines. May nabiya kay Daniel Pahuyo Salipong Jr. Ito na to, ha? What law did the Philippine Legislative enact on November 11, 1931, which is known as Radio Control Law of the Philippines? Ang tubag, Republic Act 3846. Public Act 3846. Number 2. What is the government agency which grants permit or the use of radio frequency or wireless telephone and telegraph system and radio communication systems, including amateur radio stations and radio television broadcasting system? What is the government agency which grants permits for the use of radio frequency or wireless telephone and telegraph system and radio communication systems, including amateur radio stations and radio television broadcasting system? Ang tubag, National Telecommunication Commission. Number 3. United Nations agency based in Geneva, Switzerland, which coordinates the use of is United, which in your region. In the Philippines, what ITO region? Ang tubag, Region 3. Region 3. Ika-5. Who is eligible to use the amateur frequency bands allocated by the rules and regulation governing the amateur radio service in this country? Who is eligible to use the amateur frequency band allocated by the rules and regulation governing the amateur radio service in the country? Ang tubag, duly licensed amateur only duly licensed amateur. So na to, only duly licensed amateur. Number 6, what is maximum effective NTC may use to a new qualified applicant or for renewal of license with appropriate application submitted. What is the maximum effective period of license NTC may use to a new or for renewal of license with appropriate application submitted. 3 years application of renewal of amaturation. When should application of renewal of the amateur license be filed before expiration? Ang tubag, at least 30 days. At least 30 days. Number 8, an expired license of not less than how many years may be renewed upon filing of renewal application and payment to entities to the prescribed fees and surcharges. An expired license not less than how many years may be renewed upon filing of renewal application and payment to NTC and prescribed fees and surcharges with no requirement to retake the examination and retaining the assigned full time. Ang tubag, 2 years. 2 years. Number 9. After how many years may an expired license be renewed, subject to the payment of fees and surcharges and the assignment of different full time from the former license without retaking examination. After how many years may an expired license may be renewed, subject to payment of fees and surcharges and the assignment of the different cosign from former license without retaking the examination? Ang tubag, more than 2 years but less than 5 years. More than 2 years but less than 5 years. Number 10. What may an amateur whose license has expired for more than 5 years do to become licensed again? Subject to assignment of a different call sign. What may an amateur whose license has expired for more than 5 years do to become licensed again? Subject to assignment of a different full sign. Ang tubag, pass the appropriate examination and fees for a new license, pay prescribed to NTC, refer to amendment. Pass the appropriate examination and fees for a new license, pay prescribed to NTC, refer to amendment. Ay kay Dimon Pabri Kama ay nabida. Ika 11. What type of modification of the amateur license can be filed with the NTC? What type of modification of the amateur license can be filed with the NTC? Ang tubag, upgrading to a higher class of license. Upgrading to a higher class of license. Ikadusi. What application should be filed with the NTC when an amateur license has been lost, mutilated, or destroyed? What application should be filed with the NTC, mutilated, or destroyed? Ang tubag, duplicate license. Duplicate license. What do you 13? What do you call are requirements before an amateur radio license is renewed to show proof of her involvement in any amateur radio activity? What do you call a requirement before an amateur radio license is renewed to show proof of her involvement in any amateur radio station activity? Ang tubag, proof of amateur activity. Proof of amateur activity. Number 14. A Class C amateur shall be authorized to operate on HF fixed radio station with output power not exceeding how much on single sideband suppressed carrier. A Class C amateur shall be authorized to operate on HF fixed radio station with output power not exceeding how much on single sideband suppressed carrier. Ang tubag, 200 watts. 200 watts. Ika number 15. What general subject is covered by elementary or Class C examination? What general subject is covered by elementary or Class C examination? Ang tubag, fundamentals of electronics and electricity. Fundamentals of electronics and electricity. Number 16. A Class C amateur shall be authorized to operate on HF fixed station with An output power not exceeding how much on CW. A Class C amateur shall be authorized to operate on HF fixed station without with an output power not exceeding how much on CW. Ang tubag 100 watts. 100 watts. Number 17. What frequency range 2 meter VHF can be used by amateurs in the Philippines? What frequency range 2 meter VHF can be used by amateur in the Philippines? Ang tubag 14.4 decimal 000 o 14.6 decimal 000 megahertz. Four decimal 000 to 14.6 decimal 000 megahertz. Number 18. What frequency range on 40 meter HF can be used by amateur in the Philippines? What frequency range on 40 meter HF can be used by amateur in the Philippines? Ang tubag 7 decimal 000 to 7 decimal 200 megahertz. 7 decimal 000 to 7 decimal 2000 megahertz. Number 19. What frequency range on 15 meter HF can be used by amateur? Decimal 450 megahertz. 21 decimal 000 to 21 decimal 450 megahertz. Number 20. A Class C amateur radio license is also known as a Class C amateur radio license is also known as ang tubag technician class. Technician class. Number 21. What rating must a candidate obtain to pass the written examination, provided that a rating of not less than 50% is receiving for any of prescribed elements? What rating must the candidate obtain to pass the written examination, provided that a rating of not less than 50% is received for any of the prescribed elements? Ang tubag 70%. 70%. 22. What is the distinctive identification carried by all transmissions in the amateur radio service, consisting of numbers and letters assigned by the NTC? What is the distinctive the identification carried by all transmission in the amateur radio service, consisting of numbers and letters assigned by the NTC ang tubag call sign. Call sign. Number 23. A Class B amateur license is also known as a Class B amateur license is also known as ang tubag General Class. General Class. Number 24. On what month does the expiration of a license issued by NTC all except those with lifetime privilege? On what month does the expiration of a license issued by NTC all except those with lifetime privilege? Ang tubag, licensee birth month. Licensee birth month. Number 25. A Class A amateur license is also known as a Class A amateur license is also known as ang tubag advanced class refer to the amendment. Advanced class refer to the amendment. Number 26. How many classes of amateur are there in the Philippines? How many classes of license are there in the Philippines? Ang tubag 3 refer to the amendment. 3 refer to the amendment. Number 27. The technician class is also known as ang tubag Class C. Class C. Number 28. If a Class C amateur passes by examination or an upgrade to Class B, how does he affect the upgrade in his license? If a Class C amateur passes the examination, the upgrade in his license. Modification of amateur license. Number 29. How should frequency bands allocated to a particular class of amateur can be used by duly authorized amateur? How should frequency bands allocated to a particular class of amateur can be used by duly authorized amateur? Ang tubag non-interference basis. Non-interference basis. Mic test. Mic test. Mic test. Number 30. To facilitate a reception of distress calls using emergency frequency on 2-meter transmission should be kept to pulse using emergency frequency on 2-meter transmission should be kept to a minimum for how long? Ang tubag, non-exceeding 1 minute. Non-exceeding 1 minute. Number 31. What should an amateur without distress traffic do on the emergency frequency on 2-meter to make sure no distress traffic in taking place? What should an amateur without distress traffic do on the emergency frequency on 2 meters to make sure no distress traffic is taking place? Ang tubag, listen for reasonable period before transmitting. Number 32. When is a citizen or another country qualified to take the examination and apply for an amateur license here? When is a citizen of another country qualified to take examination and apply for an amateur license here? Ang tubag, when his country extend the same privilege to Filipino nationals as far as examination is concerned. When his country extends the same privilege to Filipino nationals as far as examination is concerned. Number 33. Who in amateur service is called an amateur or an amateur radio operator? Who in amateur service is called an amateur or an amateur radio operator? Ang tubag, a person interested in radio technique solely with a personal aim and without pecuniary interest. Number 34. A radio station in an amateur service installed with specified fixed location and operated to communicate with an amateur mobile station, amateur portable station, and another amateur fixed radio station is a radio station is the amateur service installed and specified fixed location and operated to communicate with an amateur mobile station, amateur portable station, or another amateur fixed radio station is ang tubag, amateur fixed radio station. Amateur fixed radio station. Number 35. A radio station in the amateur service installed on board a vehicle or vessel and intended to be used while in motion during halt and specified points is a radio station in the amateur service installed on board a vehicle or vessel and intended to be used while in motion or during halt and an specified point is ang tubag amateur mobile station. Amateur mobile station. Number 36. What is an amateur that it may conveniently be moved about from place to place or personally carried and be operated while in motion or during temporary halts? What is a mature station so designed that it may conveniently be moved without from place to place or personally carried and be operated while in motion or during temporary halts? Ang tubag amateur portable station. In telecommunication by means of radio waves conducted by or among authorized amateur on a non-commercial basis. Ang tubag amateur radio communication. Amateur radio communication. Number 30. Is defined as a radio communication service using space station on Earth satellites for the same purpose that those of the amateur radio service. Is defined as a radio communication service using space station on Earth's satellites for the same purpose that those of the amateur radio service. Ang tubag amateur satellite service. Amateur satellite service. Number 39 is a general term applied to the use of radio waves. Is the general term applied to the use of radio waves. Ang tubag radio. Radio. Number 40 is defined as a reasonably complete and sufficient combination of distinct radio equipment intended for and capable of being used either or transmission or reception of radio signal or both. Bati. Is defined as reasonably complete and sufficient combination of distinct radio equipment intended for an or reception of radio signal or both. Ang tubag radio apparatus. Radio apparatus. Number 41 is a station with one or more transmitters, receivers, or combination of transmitters or receivers, including the accessory equipment authorized at a location carrying on a radio communication service. Is a station with one or more transmitters, receivers, or combination of transmitters or receivers, including the accessory equipment authorized at a location carrying on a radio communication service. Ang tubag, radio station. Radio station. Kira. Nalit ko. Nalit ko, Brad. Number 42 is the terms for any transmission, emission, and reception of sign, signals, writing, image, and sound or intelligent or any nature by wire, radio, optical, or other electromagnetic system. Is a term for any transmission, emission, and reception or sign, signal, written, image, and sound or intelligent of any nature by wire, radio, optical, or any electromagnetic system. Ang tubag, telecommunication. Telecommunication. Number 43, who is a Class A amateur duly appointed by the board of the club or association to supervise and control the proper use of operation of the fixed station of that association or club. Ang tubag, trustee. Number 44. What is the distress signal of the radio telegraphy? What is the distress signal of the radio telegraphy? Ang tubag, SOS. SOS. Number 45. What is the distress signal of the radio telephony? What is the distress signal of the radio telephony? Ang tubag, Mayday. Mayday. Number 46. Into how many amateur radio districts in the Philippines? Into how many amateur radio districts in the Philippines? Ang tubag, 9. 9 districts. 9. Number 47, Baguio City belong to what amateur radio districts? Baguio City belong to what amateur radio district? Ang tubag, District 2. District 2. Number 14. Dumaguete City is under what amateur radio district? Dumaguete City is under what amateur Radio District. Ang tubag District 7. District 7. Number 49. Bicol is what an amateur radio district? Bicol is what amateur radio district? Ang tubag District 4. District 4. Number 50. Batangas is under what amateur district? Batangas is under what amateur district? Ang tubag District 1. District 1. Number 51. What provinces belong to amateur radio District 6? What provinces belong to amateur radio District 6? Ang tubag Iloilo, Negros Occidental, Capiz. Iloilo, Negros Occidental, Capiz. Number 52. If an amateur with a Delta United 1 double X-ray call sign drives to Baguio City for a day, how should we identify his mobile station when transmitting in radio telephony? If an amateur with a Delta United 1 double X-ray call sign drive to Cotabato City for a day, how should we identify his mobile station when transmitting in radio telephony? Ang tubag Delta United 1 double X-ray mobile 2. Delta United 1 double X-ray mobile 2. Number 53. If an amateur with a Delta United 9 double X-ray call sign operate temporarily a portable station in Zamboanga for less than a month, how should we identify his station in radio telephony? If an amateur with a Delta United 9 double X-ray call sign operate temporarily a portable station in Zamboanga for less than a month, how should we identify his station in radio telephony? Ang tubag Delta United 1 ay Delta United 9 portable 8. Delta United 9 double X-ray portable 8. Number 54. Where should be amateur radio station license placed in the radio station? Where should be the amateur radio station license placed in the radio station? Ang tubag Confucius Place. Number 55. When is any person permitted to transmit by voice while operating the amateur station of a licensee? When is any person permitted to transmit by voice while operating amateur station of a licensee? Ang tubag when the licensee controls directly the entire operation in accordance with proper amateur practice. When the licensee controls directly the entire operation in accordance with proper amateur practice. Number 56. What is strictly prohibited under the rules governing operation of amateur station? What is strictly prohibited ang tubag? Operation without valid amateur radio operator certificate of radio station license. Operation without valid amateur radio operator certificate or radio station license. Number 57. What shall an amateur do upon knowing his station is causing harmful interference to the operation of any existing station? What shall an amateur do upon knowing his station is causing harmful interference to the operation of any existing station? Answer: cease operation immediately. Cease operation immediately. Number 58. What appropriate steps can the NTC take on the harmful interference caused by an amateur station? What about the harmful interference caused by an amateur station? Ang tubag: sustain the amateur station's operation pending a satisfactory adjustment of the equipment. Suspend the amateur station's operation pending a satisfactory adjustment of the equipment. Number 59. For how long is a portable station allowed in any other area without obtaining the specific authority? For how long is a portable operation allowed in any other area without obtaining a specific authority? Ang tubag: 1 month. If the continuous portable operation exceeds for 4 months one any other area, what is required if a continuous portable operation exceeds for 4 months one any other area? Ang tubag: modification of the station license. Modification of the station license. Number 61. NTC may grant the authorization to install and operate a repeater to whom? NTC may grant the authorization to install and operate a repeater to whom ang tubag only to duly recognized amateur association, clubs, or societies. Only to duly recognized amateur association, clubs, or societies. Number 62. At least how many licensed members must a club have as one of the requirements to be accredited by the NTC? At least how many licensed members must a club have as one of the requirements to be accredited by the NTC? Ang tubag, 25. 25. Number 63. An amateur who is a citizen or resident of a foreign country may be authorized to operate temporarily in the Philippines, provided he is a holder of a license issued by the government and his country provide the same privilege to Filipino national. What do you call this partnership or arrangement of on amateur licensing between two countries? Ang tubag, reciprocal agreement. Reciprocal agreement. Number 64. Which of the following is a ground for suspension, revocation of an amateur license? Which of the following is a ground for suspension, revocation of an amateur license? Ang tubag, international, harmful, interfering, or jamming of international, harmful, interfering, or jamming of legitimate licensor, a radio station. Number 65. To secure a Class B amateur license, a registered electronics and communication engineer shall be required to pass the examination or what element? Ang tubag, element 2. Number 66. What element shall be required from a holder of a valid first or second class commercial radio telegraph operator certificate to secure a Class B amateur license? What element shall be required from a holder of a valid first or second class commercial radio telegraph operator certificate to secure a Class B amateur license? Ang tubag, element 2. Number 67. What is Delta Whiskey, Delta Victory, or Delta United in the formation of amateur call sign? What is Delta Whiskey, Delta Victory, or Delta United in the formation of amateur call sign? Ang tubag, prefix. Prefix. Number 68, for amateur call sign, Delta United 1, Alpha Bravo Charlie, what is the suffix? For amateur call sign, Delta United 1, Alpha Bravo Charlie, what is the suffix? Ang tubag, Alpha Bravo Charlie. Alpha Bravo Charlie. Number 69. Which one below is a valid amateur call sign in the Philippines? Which one is a valid amateur call sign in the Philippines? Ang tubag, Delta Whiskey 1, Sierra Whiskey Alpha. Fine any person who had been found to have violated the law with illegal possession and illegal transmission of amateur transceiver. How much shall NTC fine any person who has of amateur transceiver? Ang tubag, 2,000 pesos or imprisonment not more than 2 years for each and every offense. 2,000 pesos or imprisonment of not more than 2 years for each and every offense. Number 71. For how much NTC fine a firm, company, corporation, or association found to have illegally purchased a base transceiver? How much shall NTC fine a firm, company, corporation, or found to have illegally purchased a base transceiver? Ang tubag, 5,000 pesos. 5,000 pesos. Number 72. When shall an amateur make station and documents available for NTC inspection? When shall an amateur make station and documents available for NTC inspection? Ang tubag, anytime upon request by an NTC representative or inspector with a mission order. Anytime upon request by an NTC representative or inspector with a mission order. Number 73. In April 2011, NTC issued Memorandum Circular 04-03-2011 on some frequencies which shall be used at times of disasters and national emergencies, with frequency on 2 meter and 10 and 40 meters shall be used by amateur as calling frequency under this MC. In April 2011, NTC issued Memorandum Circular 04-03-2011 on some frequencies which shall be used at times of disasters and national emergencies, which frequency on 2 meter and 40 meters shall be used by amateur as calling frequency under the MC. Ang tubag 14 4.740 and 7.095 megahertz. 14.4.740 and 7.095 megahertz. Number 74. What is not among the frequency band allocated to the amateur radio service? What not among the frequency band allocated to amateur radio service? Ang tubag 25 990 megahertz. 25.000 to 27.990 megahertz. Number 75. What documents is issued by NTC authorizing possession of a radio transmitter or transceiver? What document is issued by NTC authorizing possession of a radio transmitter or transceiver? Ang tubag, permit to possess. Permit to possess. Number 76. What documents issued by NTC authorizing the holder to purchase a radio transmitter or transceiver? What documents is issued by NTC authorizing the holder to purchase a radio transmitter or transceiver? Ang tubag, purchase permit. Purchase permit. Number 77. What is required if the person wants to sell or transfer his transmitter to another on a single transaction? What is required if a person wants to sell or transfer his transmitter to another on a single transaction? Ang tubag, he must obtain a permit to sell or transfer from NTC. He must obtain a permit to sell or transfer from NTC. Number 78. What is Federation of National Amateur Radio Society worldwide, which serves as a watchdog and spokesperson for the world amateur radio community in the international level, wherein the Philippines is under Region 3. What is the Federation of National Amateur Radio Societies worldwide, which serves as the watchdog and spokesperson for the world amateur radio community in the international level, wherein Philippines is under its Region 3? ang tubag. IARU. IARU. Number 79. What size of the call sign characters of fixed amateur radio station shall be posted at the entrance of the premises? What size of the call sign characters of the fixed amateur radio station shall be posted at the entrance of the premises? Ang tubag, at least 10 centimeter high. At least 10 centimeter high. Number 80. What size of the call sign characters shall be posted on the windshield of a vehicle or vessel or mobile station? Ang tubag, at least 5.08 centimeter high. At least 5.08 centimeter high. Number 81. What size of the call sign characters shall be posted on the equipment itself for a portable station? What size of the call sign characters shall be posted on the equipment itself for a portable station? Ang tubag, at least 0.635 centimeter. At least 0.635 centimeter. Number 82. What is the coverage of element 4 for a Class C examination? What is the coverage of the element 4 or Class C examination? Ang tubag, amateur radio practice. Amateur radio practice. Number 83. Delta United 1 XXX has transferred his fixed station to Pangasinan, and after 4 months had his license modified. What should his new call sign be? Delta United 1 XXX had transferred his fixed station to Pangasinan, and after 4 months and his license modified. What should his new call sign be? Ang tubag, Delta United 1 XXX Portable 2. Delta United 1 XXX Portable 2. Number 84. What documents shall a duly accredited amateur club enter into with NTC for the management of its member in the proper use of the amateur frequency bands and prevention or harmful interference? What document shall a duly accredited amateur club enter into with NTC for the management of its member in the proper use of the amateur frequency band and prevention of harmful interference? Ang tubag, Memorandum of Agreement. Memorandum of Agreement. Number 85. What are some province? Number 85. What region are under District 8? What region are under Amateur District 8? Ang tubag, Region 9 and Region 12.
Tipay buhat ang tubag at tuwar. Bicol tuwar.
Ay, nakayutin ko dahil nalimot ko na. Ayaw tara na pa, what are some provinces under Amateur District 4? Bicol, Kori. What region are under Amateur District 8? Ang tubag, Region 9 and Region 12. Number 87, how does Delta United 1 XXX operating temporarily for 30 days in Ilocos Sur identify the station? How does Delta United 1 XXX operating temporarily for 30 days in Ilocos Sur identify his station? Ang tubag, Delta United 1 XXX/2, Delta United 1/2, Delta United 1 XXX/2. Number 88, which element is not prescribed for Class C examination? Which element is not prescribed for Class C examination? Ang tubag, element 1. Element 1. Number 89. If a Class C amateur applies for renewal of his license for another 3 years, but is 14 months expired, and prescribed license fee is 144 per year, how much shall he pay? NTC is registration license renewal excluding filing fee. If a Class C amateur applies for renewal of his license for another 3 years, but is 14 months expired, and the prescribed license fee is 144 per year, how much shall he pay NTC for his registration license renewal excluding filing fee? Ang tubag, 648 pesos. 648 pesos. Number 90. Ulo na lang. What do you call a radio station in the amateur service installed at a specified fixed location and operated to communicate with an amateur mobile station, portable station, or other amateur station? What do you call a radio station in the amateur service installed at a specified fixed location and operated to communicate with an amateur mobile station, portable station, or other amateur station? Ang tubag, amateur fixed station. Amateur fixed station. Number 91. In the amateur band, what kind of messages should not be transmitted? In the amateur band, what kind of messages should not be transmitted? Ang tubag, commercial and broadcast messages. Commercial and broadcast messages. Number 92. To facilitate the reception district calls, all transmission 145 MHz shall be kept to a minimum and shall not exceed for how long? To facilitate the reception district calls, all transmission 145 MHz shall be kept to a minimum and shall not exceed. How long? Ang tubag, 1 minute. 1 minute. The Philippines, number 70, next. Number 93, sorry. The Philippines is divided into how many amateur radio districts? The Philippines is divided into how many amateur radio districts? Ang tubag, 9 districts. 9 districts. Ika-94. How long must be a radio logbook be kept? How long must be a radio logbook be kept? Ang tubag, 2 years. 2 years. Kaya na lang. Number 95. How long should a radio logbook with district traffic be kept? How long should a radio logbook and district traffic be kept? Ang tubag, 5 years. 5 years. 96. What is the combination of letters and numbers to identify a radio station known as? What is the combination of letters and numbers to identify a radio station known as? Ang tubag, call sign. Call sign. Number 97. What government agency is responsible for the regulation of the amateur radio service? What government agency is responsible for the regulation of the amateur radio service? Ang tubag, NTC. NTC. Ika-98. What is the one of the frequencies of the emergency channel on the 2-meter band? What is the one of the frequency of the emergency channel on the 2-meter band? Ang tubag, 145 megahertz plus negative 25 kilohertz. 145 megahertz plus negative 25 kilohertz. Number 99. What is amateur radio station intended to be used for operation during an unspecified halt or while in motion. What is amateur radio station intended to be used for operation during an unspecified halt or while in motion? Ang tubag, mobile station. Mobile station. And last but not the least, number 100. What is the maximum numbers of letters in the suffix of call sign that NTC issued? What is the maximum numbers of letters in the suffix of call sign that NTC issued? Ang tubag, 3. 3. Salamat sa nagmonitor karon, naot nga namoy natunan karon ay gamit nato ni sa arong abot na exam. Naot nga natunan ninyo o binaw pud nga nakamonitor mga station. Sige, good night station. Kaya nako, this is Niner Whiskey Kilo 5, UTS Pugo, Cagayan de Oro City. You are rich.